Insights channel, Steve here. Today I'm going to tell you a strange story. Something happened to me yet again, something odd, something out of the ordinary. And you probably wonder why I see so many strange, odd things. Good question. Well, I think maybe when it comes to the paranormal or supernatural, or maybe stuff that isn't the paranormal or supernatural, but it just looks very odd. Maybe I notice these things so I can report them. Maybe that's just my job. Maybe I'm one of the ones who reports things, whilst others maybe don't notice. Anyway, I'll just tell you the strange thing happened to me today. As you probably noticed before, I've told some very odd stories before, things happened to me while I was on a bicycle. Well, the same happened today. Well, I was on my bicycle, minding my own business, going out in the countryside on the route, one of the routes I frequently do. And I just came around the corner and I was just cycling along. And while I was cycling along there near the hills here in Scotland, and suddenly this car came roaring by me, much faster than it should have been doing. Normally cars slow down when they pass a bicycle, but this one didn't. It was too abrupt and too fast. It turned out to be a small black car, something like a Golf, something of that order. Completely black car. I was trying to catch the license plate in case I could fake like I was reporting it to the police for speeding, talking into my hand, that sort of thing. Well, maybe that's not the wisest thing to do, depending on who you're dealing with. Anyway, I thought nothing more of as a black little car, Golf, just roared off into the horizon up a slight incline near the hills. And then, about a mile further along, that road that I'm very familiar with, which there inclines more and more uphill, there is a road bearing to the left at a left-right angle, going also incrementally up to a farm. And when I got to that point, I saw the same black car coming back down the farm road. By the way, it's not just a farm there are other buildings up there as well. And it came to the junction of the main road I was on, if you can call it that, out in the countryside. Next to those cars are all on it. This time there were none, except this one little black car. It came back down that farm road. It did something unusual. As soon as it met me, and I'm on the major road, right? What a car normally should do is any vehicle on the main road, you stop at the junction and you let whatever's on the main road just pass by. We didn't do that. As soon as it came to the end of the farm road, it crossed over the road, did a U-turn and went back the way it came back up the farm road again. I thought, wow. But I'm always very cautious with cars when I'm on a bicycle. So I always slow down at intersections and slow down and let them pass, or let them do what they want. And that's what I did on this occasion. But it wasn't until I'd given way and let him turn around in the main road and then go back up the farm road, when I kept on going, I suddenly realised there was nobody driving the car. It had no driver. But what? That's impossible. And I only realised later when so what I did was, I kept driving up the hill the way I normally go, but instead of going the full length of the distance I normally would, something told me, no, don't drive the full distance, go back. So after that car disappeared up the farm road again, I just cycled fast back down the hill from the way I came. Now, if I get or witness, as I would say, from the spirit world that you need to do something unusual, just go back the way you came. I didn't know why. I had no idea. So I'll just do what I feel is the right thing to do. I'll get those, some people would say, check in the spirit. Some people say, gut feeling. Just call it what you want. I think it's a connection with the spirit world. You're getting, somebody's telling you something. So I did what I was told, and I cycled back the way I came early. And I just had a witness, that car's going to come after you. It's either going to follow you or it's going to be there. Sure enough, I came all the way, almost away to my house. We're not quite, probably half a mile away. And then I deliberately stopped outside one of the houses I always pass on that road. You know, because if there's anything threatening from a car or anybody who's dangerous or anything like that for any reason, if the rob or whatever, I stop at somebody else's house and they don't know, maybe that's my house, that I live there. So anyway, I did that, stopped my bike right outside the front door of this house. The black car just shot by me. And of course, for all imaginations, maybe it's absolutely nothing, maybe it's absolutely nothing, maybe just coincidence that such strange drivers on the road and such a limited driving ability and lack of manners, I'd say. But anyway, when I came round the next major corner, which comes into the village where I live, there enough, right outside the council, little tiny building there in the village, the car was parked there. I thought that's really odd, so I've seen that car 4 times. 4 times on my little trip on a bicycle. But I realised, and I didn't realise this till later when I was analysing the situation, not one time did I see a driver in that car. I know you could say that's impossible. Cars can't drive themselves. Oh, can they? Well, I'll tell you what, after thinking about it, praying about it, analysing it, I realised something was very odd about the situation. A, the car was driving too fast on that road, and especially behind a bicycle. And when it met me the second time, it acted very defensively. Very defensively. It could have chosen to drive at the intersection down to the left where it just come from, or to the right. Why did it have to turn around completely, go back up the farm road where it came from? What was it afraid of? And then, that was the second time I saw it. And the third time I saw it as it rushed by me when I parked further down the hill back near the village. And the fourth time I saw it outside the council, and it was only later when I thought about analysing the situation. Hey, wait a minute, there was nobody in that car. There wasn't a driver, and there wasn't any passengers. I thought, you must be on the wrong kind of something. How could you imagine such a thing? And then I thought, wait a minute, why don't we just look this up on the net, see if we can find something. I live in the UK, I live in Scotland. I thought, we don't have cars that advanced, do we? Question mark. Well, look what happened. As soon as I went on the net, I said automatic cars, driverless cars in the UK. And I was shocked to find out that they actually have the technology. That the world is going in the direction of iRobot, and it's going in the direction of the Terminator with technology and robots. I was shocked to find out. They have a new law that by the year 2026, it's a short time away, 18 months away, that robotic cars and driverless cars will be allowed in the UK. Now, for them to already bring out a law like that a year and a half from now, they obviously already got the technology. Obviously they do. But I saw it in action today. But the only difference is, the cars they were describing, they would make it out like, yes, there'll be driverless cars, electronic cars by the year 2026, where you can either choose to drive the car yourself, or you can put it on AI and the car drives itself. But this was more advanced than that. This was, the car was driving itself without anybody in the car. You know, and it says they still have to go through tests in the UK to test that the AI cars are safe on the roads. But I saw one of those cars today. It must have been. What else could it be? A car driving itself, 2024, July. But when I looked on the net, say yes, that is actually possible. There are some floating around. And of course, where I live here, there are some people quite wealthy with wealthy farms and wealthy places. So it's possible they might, or somebody unusual might have one of these cars. But I honestly don't know. Why would somebody be driving a car driverless with no passengers? What would be the purpose? But then I got to thinking, I was asking my wife about it, I said, wait a minute, maybe it was some young people messing around, like using it as a toy or something. Maybe the person who owned it wasn't there or something, like father or uncle or something. Someone was messing around. Now, I'll tell you now, I do know about electronics. That's what I studied at university, and radar and stuff. And some of you know that I was trained in the military as a pilot at one time. And I tell you this, that in order to have a car like that, in order for a car to be electronic, driverless, it has to be driven remote control, and that would involve things like satellite link up, like you do with some mobile phones. But to have it so simple, there's a black Golf driving around by itself, I was freaky. And I said, well, I don't know what kind of technology that is, but I don't think much of their driving, because they were driving too fast behind a bicycle. It also made me think, whoa, next time I hear a car behind me as a cyclist, I'm going to be a bit more leery. I'm very defensive as a cycle driver. I tend to pull over if there's any cars coming in the opposite direction, and I give lots of space to traffic. You know, and I generally do not drive on main roads anymore. I used to when I was young. So I'm very, very careful as a cyclist. But now it looks like you've got to watch what's coming behind you in case they're driving too fast, in case they hit you or something. But that's what happened to me today. I thought it was odd at the time. And of course, as somebody pointed out, well, when you're not expecting something, you're not particularly looking for something. And what I mean by that is, I wasn't looking for a car that had no driver in it and no passengers in it. I must say the windows were darkened. You couldn't see that well what was in the car. But I realised later there was nobody in the car. It couldn't have been, because when I met the car the second time, when it wasn't speeding past me, it slowed down to zero. And I was right there, right next to it. And I could see there was nobody driving the car. I was, what? That's not possible. And then it's almost like who was driving electronically or remotely by satellite realised I was there. And it's, for some reason they didn't want to drive back down the road to the left or the right. They just turned around and slowly went back the way they came, like defensive driving. Like maybe you'd expect that some young people were messing around with a driverless car. Anyway, you see what you think about that little funny story that really happened to me today. I'm not making this up, it happened. I'd love to know if other people have had experience of this sort of thing, where cars are driving themselves electronically, obviously, no driver, but I wouldn't recommend it as in what is to recommend. Oh yeah, the problem is you've got these people who are trying to convince us the world will be better off with everything run by machines and robots and transhumanism and AI and all this. I do not agree with that. You just see the movies like I, Robot. It shows clearly the dangers. Things get out of control. You know, I wouldn't want to trust my car to be driving itself. Yeah, I don't think that's a very good idea. I think God created humans for a reason, not to be replaced. But see what you think. If anybody else has experienced anything like this, and like I said, it's going into law in less than a year and a half in the UK to have AI or driverless cars. I think normally used as an alternative to the driver. Maybe you're tired or something, just put on automatic, like you do as a pilot. Put it on automatic. See, I had that for years, but in a car. Anyway, if anybody has an experience along the same lines of noticing cars that don't have a driver, electronic driven by themselves, I have heard of people seeing that in Japan sometimes. If anybody else has seen any of this sort of thing, I'll be very interested to know. Put a comment on my YouTube video for today. I find that quite fascinating. But I also find it scary. And that's why I'm warning people, just watch your back when you're on a bicycle, in case what you think's a car behind you isn't. It's something else, it's a hybrid. It's an AI controlled vehicle that's driving by itself. Is such a thing possible? I thought these are just relegated to the realms of science fiction. Apparently not. Anyway, if you'd like to know more about things like this, read my books on the paranormal, Out the Bottomless Pit 1 and 2. because it seems the technology is advancing much faster than most of us realise. I didn't know they were this advanced already, not till today. Maybe that's why it happened to me. I saw it to report it. So that's what I'm doing. Well, thanks a lot for listening, and I would encourage people to get hold of my books, and I would especially like to let people know that a new website, which is called www.insightspublication.com. It says Insights plural, publication singular. www.insightspublication.com. I'd like to encourage everybody to go on the website and see the amazing content it has. It's full of artistic content related to my books, and 250 audio, visuals, and videos I've made on YouTube in the last year and a half or so. Mostly related to my books, but also talk about other topics like today, and other odd things going on this planet. Paranormal, supernatural. Reporting life after death experience as well. Things that personally happened to me or somebody I know. I'll just tell people what I've seen. So thanks for listening to this channel. This is the Insights channel, and it's insightspublication.com for the website. Brand new website. You'll find a lot of content on there, and that you can enjoy. It's got a lot of things, and all done in fantastic art, as done by the artist Susanna Strutt, who also has a web design, designed the whole website. So I hope you will take the time to try our new website, and that's www.insightspublication.com. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.